Desi Arnaz and Cary Grant.
Election reform seems to be on a lot of people's minds. How seriously are you taking the problems in Broward and Palm Beach, and how big of an issue is that for you, or is that a local problem?
No, it's an issue for us, but mainly not because there are other laws that we may need put in place, but because there were laws in place that were violated. I think that's the biggest issue. The biggest takeaway from Palm Beach and Broward is that there were laws in place, but either new rulemaking was introduced by the supervisor of elections that law does not allow for, or laws and deadlines were just passed up, and even court orders were ignored. So I think it's more of an adherence to the law than perhaps new law being necessary.
And Matt Caldwell even suggested penalties for supervisors that miss deadlines. Is that an option?
I think that we should look at everything. The bottom line is that we need to make sure that people can trust their electoral process. And in this case, it was just 2 counties of all our counties, but 2 of them failed, and in doing so damaged that trust. So we do have to look at it.
What kind of expectations do you have for your committee chairs in terms of how they run the committee?
I think that everyone, all the committee chairs and our entire caucus, I hope that they'll govern themselves by a set of principles. That everything that comes before them, no one person can know all the issues of Florida. But if you know what you believe and you apply it to everything that comes before you, I think that they'll do fine.
Are there any plans for an implementation bill for Amendment 4?
All that is in discussion now. We have to take a look at all the different amendments and which ones may need implementation.
Have you had many discussions yet with Governor-elect DeSantis, and how do you see his role and your role with him as the new administrator of the state going into this session?
Well, I've had the privilege of having many discussions. I think him and I are very ideologically aligned, so that's very positive. He has his priority is the environment, but he also understands how important healthcare is. It's now half of our budget. It will eat up our entire budget if we let it, and he understands that, as well as education. So we're very aligned.
You're speaking on healthcare. You had a mention of that in your speech today. Is that something that's going to be a high priority, pushing that? I mean, there's bills that have been passed on the House side, and there's been, Medicaid expansion fights. The Senate has never taken. Is there something that can be changed?
Well, I certainly hope so. When I got elected in 2011, healthcare was 33% of our budget. That was pretty alarming back then. This year will be 48. I mean, something clearly is not working, and adding more money to that won't help. I've spoken to President Galvano many times throughout the last couple of years and told him that this isn't a priority that I chose to make my priority. This is a state's priority. It's taking up our entire budget.
How much does the ARN, Advanced Registered Nurse Practitioners issue, play into solving that problem?
It's one of many, many components. So that's an issue of access. If you let people be able to practice to the extent of their training, you will create greater access in the rural areas and in other areas that maybe doctors cannot get to, so long as it's to the extent of their training. And I think we're way behind the curve as a state. Most of the nation has already gone in that direction. That's a small component, but an important one.
But I'm sure you've been briefed that Medicaid actually, the latest estimates had the enrollment going down. The most recent estimates had it actually going down. So
Well, regardless of whether Medicaid goes down or not, when something takes over 48% of your budget, it doesn't allow you to have the right amount of money for education, for building roads, and for all the things that we're supposed to be doing. I think there's something that we need to change, and of course that's on the provider side.
How do you expect
only on the provider side, not on the eligibility side? Would you want to do like other states, like where they've put in a work requirement or things of that nature? Do you think you need to change the eligibility standard?
That's more a matter of how we handle our entitlements than it is our healthcare system. The fact that it happens to be in healthcare, I get it, but how we solve our healthcare problem is going to the very source of it, and that's in the provider side.
How do you expect to pass some of those stated reforms, given President Galvano's expressed a more moderate stance on these issues like certificates of deeds?
My conversations with President Galvano lead me to believe that he is open, that he cares for this state, and understands and sees how important this is to his budget as well. And so I expect that we will be able to make some movement in those areas.
You mentioned about 2 more, everybody. You mentioned affordable housing in your speech. You didn't mention the Sadowski Trust. Is that something that we can expect to continue, the sweeps to the Sadowski Trust?
Well, we'll see. I mean, we don't have the full budget before us just yet, but what we do know is that the hurricane has had a massive impact on the upcoming budget. And what I will say about housing again is if something is growing in size, go to the source and figure out why it's growing. The planning and zoning decisions that are being made do not allow for the private construction of affordable housing. This is a new phenomenon, and the more that we add into it by subsidizing it, the greater that chasm will become.
Is it the problem with zoning, or is it that they don't have enough money to build unaffordable housing?
Well, the truth is that there are people that sell inexpensive products and people that sell expensive products. Everyone wants their space in the market. What's happening with these planning and zoning decisions is that there is no space and there's no way you can make any money in building affordable housing.
You know, yesterday you spoke about nonpartisan, being very nonpartisan.
Yeah.
Yet you went to the Democratic meeting last night where they were super partisan. Did that bother you?
No, listen, I think we have to be who we are. I mean, our party has a rich tradition. I stand before you as a Hispanic, Speaker of the Florida House. I know what our party represents, and during my entire time in the Florida House, I have not abided by the type of partisanship that sets one person against the other because of what jersey they're wearing. I decide on whether I'm with someone or against them based on their ideas and their ideology.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr.